Hello and welcome to this very short video on what is psychological safety. In this video, we're going to try and touch on the definition of psychological safety, what are the components, what are the good and bad behaviors, and why do they matter to you. We are People Not Tech, and what we do in People Not Tech is nothing but psychological safety. We write about psychological safety, everything from newsletters to books. And we make a product that measures and increases psychological safety. But first and foremost, let's figure out what psychological safety is.
What is psychological safety? It started being researched back in the 90s, but has quickly moved on to a large body of research, primarily conducted by a lady by the name of Professor Dr. Amy Edmondson out of Harvard. And you can see her definition of psychological safety here as a shared belief that the team is safe for interpersonal risk-taking. We have taken psychological safety to our hearts, and our definition is that a psychologically safe team is one that feels like family and moves mountains together. Think about when you were open, debated, were vulnerable, and learning, creating, and getting stuff done. In our minds, that's when you feel psychologically safe.
Indeed. And again, as Fionn said, there's a large body of research, and we urge you to read all the books and do all the research yourself. But I think the one that you can start with, because it is the most startling, is the Google Project Aristotle results of this immense study they have run over 4 years, where they looked at hundreds and hundreds of variables to answer the question, what makes a Google team highly performant? Because who doesn't want to be as high performing as a Google team? So for all their sins, they very clearly are incredibly efficient. So to be like Google, the number one thing you need to be doing is to have teams that have this concept of psychological safety, because as they parsed the data, as they looked through the results, the one thing that came back over and over again is that while, yes, teams have to have, be able to depend on the system and each other, they have to have structure, clarity, meaning, and impact. The most important thing that they have to have is a sense of psychological safety. And as soon as Google has come up with this result, the good news has spread fast enough, in particular in the technology side of things. And although the enterprises from all walks of life and all industries have known this for years and years, to a degree, they've known that it's important that the people are happy. They haven't had this very clear concept that psychological safety represents, which is that moment when teams are able to make magic, as Fionn was describing. And once this came from Google, and as I said, spread through the technology, the technical community, really, it also made its way into the Accelerate State of DevOps report in 2019. And over here, as you see on the screen, it became a very clear case of why does this matter for us in the technical community? Why does this make sense? It makes sense because we want to have fast and accurate results. We want to make money through technology. It's the only reason why we're trying to make sure that Agile works for us. We're fighting so hard for DevOps environments, and we're making sure that those DevOps environments deliver the results we want. To have them, we need to start with a culture of psychological safety. And this was very clearly put on the map by that report and carried on by the work of the DevOps community, in particular, Professor Dr. Nicole Forsgren and Gene Kim and all of the other amazing people that are working with it.
But why does it matter to you? So that's why it matters from a technical and team performance point of view. What does it feel like to you? So psychological safety is when you feel as a group, and you have agreed as a group, because it's a group behavioral norm, that you will be open and honest with each other, and you will treat each other with a level of respect that will be consistent no matter what happens. And what that creates for the team is a feeling of happiness. It's as simple as that. And that happiness comes from when you're really performant. You're so open and honest with each other that you can really run fast and you can get that flow as a team and really create great things together. What does it look like in reality? There are two sides, good and bad. The good side we've been talking about up to this point. This is speaking up. So being open, courageous, voicing concerns, talking about mistakes, and offering opinions and ideas with no fear of reprisal and with total understanding that you'll be met with honesty and respect. The flip side of that is impression management. Impression management is when we don't speak up. And the reasons that we don't speak up are for fear of appearing incompetent, ignorant, negative, disruptive, or intrusive. And I think we can all think of times when one of those has stopped us.
Indeed. The good news, and the thing we're going to leave you with, is that psychological safety can not only be felt, but measured and improved. And if you start understanding the data behind those particular behaviors that Fionn was mentioning, whether or not the team on the positive side has been courageous together, they have been engaged, they were flexible, they were learning, they were open, and obviously they were resilient. And on the negative side, whether or not they've ever kind of been afraid of bringing themselves to the table for fear of appearing the things that Fionn was mentioning, if you start looking at the data behind those behaviors, then you can then take action as a team, which is the magical thing about it, is that the behavior is that of the team, and the way to fix those behaviors and way to improve the good behaviors and get more of them is through team effort as well. So if you sit together and look at that data, analyze it, learn how to start fixing some of these things and use some of the tools at your disposal, you're going to start seeing more psychological safety. And as a result, be happier, be more performant, and be part of those digital lit people that we have learned about before. Thank you for listening to us.
Thank you.